Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you're joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to the Cardfight Empire channel. This is going to be our second Saturday video, so you guys are getting a special little treat today. I rarely record more than one video in a day, but like I said, we're trying to catch up on all of our videos leading up to Worlds so that we can end everything in Worlds 2017, because that's where the Cardfight year really ends for me. And then we restart with team regionals and all that stuff moving forward in Springfest. So yeah, look forward to that from me. And then also, yeah, for all of you, I mentioned it at the end of my last video. If you guys watch my videos to the end, some of you do, some of you don't. But I just thought I would mention again, for those of you who have been reaching out to me saying good luck at Worlds in a couple days. Like, I appreciate you so much. That support means a lot to me. And it means a lot to know that I have like support going behind my back, so that I'm not like mentally like no one's cheering for me, I'm gonna internally cry or something like that. But yeah, welcome back to another one of our future fights. Today we're going to be talking about the Battle Sister deck, which is ironic because the other deck that we covered today was also OTT deck Susano. So if you haven't checked that out already, go ahead and check that out. Is the video right before this one. But yeah, let's get right into the Battle Sisters deck. Let's not waste any time. Alright, so we're going to flip our G-Zone here, as usual. It's pretty much like what I said in the Susano deck, where every Oracle deck just becomes Ichikishima deck. In my opinion, Battle Sisters just does it a little differently than Susano does. They early rush better than Susano does, and then they also get they also stack their cards on top of their deck better because of their new grade 3 Florentine. So let's go over our grade 3s. We run 7 grade 3s, 4 of the new card Battle Sister Florentine. So what this card does is when it's placed on the Vanguard circle, you can look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or the bottom. So already, when you ride to grade 3, you can already like start stacking your deck and knowing what's on the top part of your deck, like, which really comes in handy because you can just stack your deck really hardcore. And since this deck actually runs a lot of crit triggers, like 8 to be exact, it does help knowing when you can stack them and when you can't. So its stride skill is when this unit strides. It's amazing to me because you don't have to go into a Battle Sister stride, which is usually how cards like this are operated, and you don't have to go into a Battle Sister stride, you just have to stride. So when you stride, you do have to counterblast a Battle Sister card, which is not an issue considering that most of all the cards in our deck are Battle Sisters. So you counterblast a Battle Sister card, special counterblast, and then you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, you put 1 to your...
Alright, sorry guys, family walked in, so I had to cut the video and relocate myself. But as I was talking about the stride skill for Battle Sister Florentine, it is when you stride, counterblast 1, Battle Sister, look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put a card into your hand and put a card into the top or bottom. And then you choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets a continuous skill that says all your rear guards with Battle Sister gain 3k for the whole turn. So this card's really solid because it already builds numbers within itself. Like, the stride skill in itself is just so broken. In my opinion, not only do you get to stack a card on your deck, you also get to add a card to your hand. So it's essentially like drawing a specific card that you want. Because out of your top 2 cards, you're usually going to have a trigger and a normal unit. So you just take the normal unit and you put the trigger back on top. And so you can prepare for like Ichikishima or like whatever you're planning on going into. And also all your Battle Sister rear guards get 3k. So if you make a regular column of 16, it will be 22. So that's very, very, very solid. Very broken, I should say. I like this card a lot. Then we run 3 Battle Sister Madeline as our backup. We never really go into this card a lot. Like, it's not really useful, in my opinion. But its skill is Generation Break 2 when it's on the Vanguard circle, counterblast 1 Battle Sister. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the number of your units with Battle Sister in its name is 3 or more, and the number of cards in your hand is 3 or less, you can draw a card. And then also when your G unit with Battle Sister in its name strides, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets an ability. It says at the end of the battle that your rearguard with Battle Sister attacked the Vanguard. If it did not hit, you can counter blast, or you can soul blast one and counter charge one. So it helps you relieve your counter charge. But like I said, you don't use counter blast that much in this deck, so it's kind of just like irrelevant. Moving on to our grade 2s, we do run 4 10k vanillas Battle Sister chart. This is to help against other early rush decks, and then also to just, you know, make our columns better, because if we have a 13k and we have like a 9k or something like that, like literally if they give all of our rear guards +3, if we play a Battle Sister Ginger and a Battle Sister Tart in the same column, that's 21k. So that's really, really powerful when you're on Florentine. So you can just make columns out of nowhere. Even if you play the Battle Sister Draw Trigger and like Macaron, it's the same thing. So like 12 plus 4, 16, and then plus 3, 3 is 22. So you can make numbers out of like nowhere in this deck. Like you don't even need a lot of units to do it. You just need to use Florentine. So we have Battle Sister Sable or Sable as our other 4 of grade 2 in this deck. It does have a rearguard on play skill, and the skill is when it's placed on rearguard, if the number of other units with Battle Sister and its card name is 3 or more, then you can soul blast 1 Battle Sister card and draw a card. So this helps you for your early rush as well, but you're able to soul blast out the Battle Sister card that you wrote for grade 1, and then just keep drawing cards, which helps you facilitate your rush, and also helps you stay on field with your opponent. And Sable essentially makes itself free when you play down to the board because of that, as long as you use the skill. And then we have 4 Battle Sister Macaron, going with the theme of early rushing, so we are running 4 of these. It's a 12k attacker, which becomes 15 by itself when we use Florentine, so pretty good. And then we run 2 Battle Sister Crepe. Battle Sister Crepe has 2 abilities. The first one is Generation Break 1 Oracle. This unit gets plus 2k. So when you're Oracling your Generation Break, it is at 11k. This is important to note that it's on your turn and your opponent's turn. So if your opponent tries to attack like 9k or 10k into it, it's a no pass. So like you just tell your opponent that's no pass as long as you're Oracle. Also, it has an on-hit ability. This is when this unit attack hits a Vanguard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Battle Sister on your Vanguard, where you can counter boss 1 Battle Sister card and draw a card. So also helps you facilitate your rush and your beatdown. Some attacks they're just going to have to take because of Ichikishima, and when they do take this attack, then you can use the skill. Then Battle Sisters got their own Stride Fodder in this set, which is broken as well. It allows you to search out, like it does what a regular Stride Fodder does, and allows you to search out the other Battle Sister if you don't have it. So if you start with a Bakun Kuchin, which is this Stride Fodder, and a Madeline, you can just play it on the rearguard circle and get Florentine, which is most likely 100% what you always want to do. They also got their own PG in this set, which is Battle Sister Marmalade, which they had a PG, but it just didn't do anything. So they have their own PG that has the skill. It has the Sentinel ability, so you can't run more than 4 in your deck. And then also, when it's placed on the guard circle from the hand, you can choose one of your units being attacked, and it cannot be hit. And then if you have a Marmalade in your drop zone, and the number of cards in your hand is 3 or less, you can draw a card when you PG with it. So you can PG with it, and then if you have like exactly 3 after you PG, you can still draw a card. A lot of people are unsure of like whether that happens after you pay cost or before. It happens after. So after you discard for the PG, if you have 5 cards in your hand and you PG, you draw a card, because you'll discard 1, you'll go down to 3, and then you'll draw a card if there's a Marmalade in your drop zone already. So important to note that it also PG's rear guards, so you can PG rear guards if you really want to. Then for the rest of our grade 1s, we run a 2-2 lineup of 2 Rusk and 2 Taffy. So Rusk and Taffy essentially do the same thing, except for Rusk has resist and it's it's not generation break. Rusk has resist and costs a soul blast, and Taffy is free and does not have resist. So against matchups like Blade Master, other control matchups, you want to just play Rusk because it helps you a lot. If you are against Kagero, you can even play Rusk in your front row so that they can't be Denial Griffin when you attack with them. Even though if they're playing Overlord now, they will be able to get rid of it, or they'll be able to get rid of at least one of them using the Destiny skill. So When this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Battle Sister in its name, you can Soul Blast one Battle Sister card, and then it gets 3k, and it also has Resist, like I stated before. And then Taffy's just when it attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Battle Sister in its name, gets 3,000 power. So I think preferably Taffy is better in the early game if you're early game rushing, and then Ruska is better later on. Then we have one Kip Furl. This is the new starter for Battle Sisters that I like. It's my favorite one. It has Forerunner, which means it can move back when ridden upon, like most cards in the deck. And then also a Generation Break 1 Axe skill that says shove this card into your soul and choose one of your Vanguards with Battle Sister in its name. And until the end of the turn, it gets continuous Vanguard skill that says all your rear guards with Battle Sister in its name get plus 3,000. So it stacks with Florentine and also with Stalin if you go into it, which will give all your Battle Sisters 9k on the turn that you Stalin them. In your Generation Break 3, so pretty good. I usually just end up using it on the first stride turn because usually, like, if you're playing against control, they're not going to let that sit there for long. If it's still there by the time you stride, like, it's already been sitting there for long enough, in my opinion, so I just rather use it, put it into the soul, so that all my Soul Blast Battle Sister effects can go off as well later. And then we run 4 Muffin. We run, for our triggers, we run 8 crit, 4 draw, and 4 heal. For 4 of the crit, we run Battle Sister Muffin. Battle Sister Muffin has a skill to put itself back to the deck, and we talked about this in the Susano deck, but we can actually use the skill now that this is the Battle Sister deck. So if we have a Vanguard with Battle Sister in its name, choose one of our other units, it gets 3,000, and then it gets an Oracle ability that says when this unit attacks a Vanguard, countercharge 2. So you can give 3k and a skill to a rear guard, but make sure that you have to be Oracle when it attacks to get the countercharge 2. So a lot of people don't ever pay attention to that, and then they give it 3k and then they attack with 4 cards in their hand and you don't get the counter charge 2. No. But we also run 4 Battle Sister Ginger as our other crit, 4 Ganache or Ganache, and this is a Marvel clone basically. Like, Battle Sisters got everything in this set, like, oh my god, it's insane. But they got a Marvel clone, so you can put this unit into your soul, choose one of your units to use 3k, and then they also got a heal called Churro, which is, if that ain't a better name for a heal, I don't know what it is. I like that all the Battle Sisters names are literally like food. It excites me, just like this Excite Battle Sister, these Excite Battle Sisters. But yeah, like, since all the names of the Battle Sisters are literally food, like, if you love food like me, this is a good deck for you to play. But we have 4 Excite Battle Sister Stalin, starting off our G-Zone. It has an activation skill and a continuous skill. The activation skill is Counterboss 1 and choose a face down card with the same name as this unit and turn it face up. So you Counterboss 1 and flip a Stalin, and then you may choose to Soul Charge 1 or not. And then you can look at the top number of cards in your deck as the number of rear guards with Battle Sister in his name on your rear guard circle, and then put the cards on the top or bottom in any order. So first stride, this can be pretty devastating to your opponent, because if they don't have like a PG or something to guard with, and you say play like a full board of rear guards, and then you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and you see like 3 criticals, you can put like all 3 back on the top of the deck and put the other 2 on the bottom. And then you can just attack with Vanguard, and even if they're at 2 damage and they no guard, you can triple crit them to death. So that's part of like what makes this card so powerful. Also, if you go into a Generation Break 3, all of your rear guards with Battle Sister in its name get plus 3k. You have Ichikishima, which is the classic Oracle Think Tank card now. Ichikishima.deck, I call it. So it has 2 abilities. Both of them are main phase act abilities. The first one is Counterboss 1, Soul Blast 1, and flip the Ichikishima, and then you can draw 2 cards. And then the second one is Generation Break 3 Oracle. Flip any card from the G-Zone face up, and to the end of the turn, your opponent cannot guard with grade 0 cards, and they cannot G-guard. So pretty powerful. You pretty much want to go into this every time that you're Generation Break 3 and onwards. Then we run 2 Excite Battle Sister Mirror. Mirror works better when we're on Madeline, so it works better in synergy with Madeline. But also, if you end up making it that late in the game and you want to use Mirror will give the units in your front row plus 1000 for every card in your hand, Generation Break 3, so that's really good. And it also gives all your Battle Sisters an on-hit skill, on-hit, kind of boss 1, draw 1, so really good. Then we run 1 Gelato, in case we want to use Gelato as our first stride. Gelato, when it gets placed on the Vanguard circle, if you have a Battle Sister Heart, which you always will, you can Soul Blast 1, and then if you pay it, you look at the top cards of your deck equal to the number of Battle Sisters you control, and then you search 1 card added to your hand and place the rest on the bottom. So if you have a full board, by the time you stride, you can look at the top 6 cards of your deck, including Vanguard, for the count, and then you can put 1 to your hand and put the rest on the bottom. We run 1 Amaterasu, the GB8. The GB8 skill is Activation skill, Generation Break 8, Counter Boss 1, and look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put up to 3 in your hand, and then put the rest on the top or bottom in any order. Until the end of the turn, this unit gets an Oracle ability that says when your drive check reveals a trigger unit, all the units in your front row get plus 5 per thousand until the end of this turn. So basically when you use the GB8, like I said before in the Susanoo deck, like it's pretty much Ichi-Hishima deck, so even some turns Ichi-Hishima will still be stronger than the GB8, but if you know what your opponent's hand is, you know what they've checked for the previous turns, the GB8 can be really useful too sometimes because it's just really big. Whenever you use Amaterasu, you basically go to the top 5, you add the non-triggers to your hand, and then you put the triggers back to the top. Or you put the non-triggers back to the bottom if you're going to deck out from drive checking, stuff like that. And then when you go to drive check, you basically drive check, and if you're Oracle upon that first drive check, then if it's a trigger, you get 5k to front row, then next trigger 5k to front row, then next trigger 5k to front row, and these are not including the trigger powers. So basically every time you check a trigger, it's like 10k for a unit and 5k for the other ones in your front row, so pretty good. Then we have 4 G guards. We run 2 Son of Eternity Amaterasu. This is our 36k G guard. I really don't like this card as much in Battle Sisters. Like, I probably should just run more Bavarois, but in the build where I run 5 G Guardians, I do run a Sabreeze instead of Gelato here, and then I run I don't run Sabreeze in this deck because you don't need Sabreeze in this deck. So instead of Gelato, I just run 5 G Guardians, and I run 2 Apex, 2 Bavarois, and 1 of the Bird. But instead in this build, since I run 4, it's important to have defenses, so I run 2 Son of Eternity Amaterasu. This is our 36k G Guardian in this deck, and the reason I don't really like it in this deck is because I don't really like random soul charging in this deck. It's okay in Susanoo because you get to check the top card before you do it usually, so if it's you can check if it's a normal unit first, then shove it in, but I don't like random soul charging triggers, so that seems to happen a lot when I play this in the Battle Sister deck. But on the other hand, it is a 36k shield, and sometimes we do need that to defend ourselves against our opponent. But yeah, its skill is when it's placed on guard circle, if the number of cards in your hand is 4 or more, it gets plus 10,000. And then when this unit is placed on guard circle, soul charge 1, look at the top card of your deck, and then put it on the top or the bottom. So yeah, that's that. And then we have 1 Laws of Dominguez Apex. This is our Flip G Guardian from the Fires collection, where every clan got their Flip G Guardian. And then this skill is Counterboss 1 and flip a G unit face up, or sorry, a G Guardian face up when you put it on the guard circle. And then if you do, look at the top 2 cards from the top of your deck, and then put a card into your hand, put a card on the bottom. So pretty solid card, allows you to add cards to your hand while you're guarding. We only run 1 because it is a 26k guard at the end of the day. It doesn't get any guard shield, so you may end up having to guard with the card that you get to your hand. So it's not as good as like Amaterasu and Bavarois, who get built-in shield power on their G Guardian. So going on to Bavarois, as we just mentioned it, when this unit is placed on the guard circle, you can Counterboss 1. If you do, you draw a card, and then you reveal the top card of your deck, and if the top card of your deck is a grade 1 or greater, it gets plus 5,000 shield, and then you may choose to put the revealed card on top or bottom. So if you know that you're at 5 damage, you reveal the grade 3, and then you need to guard with the rest of the cards from your hand, you can just choose to put the grade 3 back on top, and then when you guard with everything, you literally just top deck that grade 3 in stride, because you knew that it was there, not because you got lucky. But yeah, so that was a really solid thing. And then we are going to go into the games here. So there's a Cardfight area, and then we're gonna load Battle Sisters 1. So first game, we're playing against Chaos Breaker. Kind of sucks for us. That's kind of like a bad matchup for us. We do check a draw trigger, which helps. He does check a heal trigger though, which nullifies that. But we decided to rush him rather than not because the only way that you're gonna get around Chaos with Battle Sisters is try to push them to high damage as much as possible. He rides the original Chaos Breaker and makes me lock a front row, and then he locks another one of my cards using his crit trigger. Then he uses the skill of playing Draco Kid, makes me lock another one, and then he attacks my remaining Vanguard for 9, attacks Vanguard for 11, and then his 7k can attack. I ride Florentine, I go into Gelato, I lift the top 2, and I add 2, and then I attack for 26. I check the critical trigger and another critical trigger, bringing him to 5 damage, which is amazing. Battle Sister's strong suit is checking them crits. We unlock the cards, and he retires all of them with Chaos, and then he rides into, or sorry, he G-guarded, so he's able to lock both with Chaos Universe, and then he attacked me for 14. I guard. He asked me for 26. I no guard. But yeah, I asked him why he just shuffled, and he said for better draws, and he wasn't supposed to shuffle, so aka the cards that you checked off this, he wasn't even supposed to check at all, so that's kind of shitty that he just decided to cheat randomly. But we attack him with Kishima. He does PG this. And this is pretty much all you can do with Battle Sisters against like Link Joker, is just like going to Ikishima turn after turn and hope that one turn they don't have a PG. He goes into Deluge this time, which is more solid for me actually, because this time I'm able to choose where I put my lock unit, so it will give me some rear guards to attack with. I think that he should have just went into a second Chaos Universe, but we played 2 to the board, 1 at damage. He lost 1 with Photon, which is fine with me. He attacks for 16, then I PG the other one. He checks a PG, and no triggers beyond that, so he doesn't attack me with his last card. I stride into Ikishima again, add a card, and then I use the Oracle skill, and then I attack for 26. And I check nothing. Then I attack for 12. He takes it. Retires my last 2 cards, and then he goes into Universe again, what he should have probably done the first time. And then he double locks my things. I take 1 damage. I PG 1. He puts a crit, double crit, triple crit on rear guard. Then I G-guard with Baba Race and an extra card. Then I draw, stride into Ikishima. And then I play Rusk, attacking him for 33, hoping that he didn't have a PG, but he did. So then we intern, unlock. He strides into Blue Ball. Then he locks, or he can't lock my last one because it has resist, so he can't really do anything to lock it, so that's good for me. But yeah, he tried to lock my back row. I told him that he couldn't because it has resist, and he didn't realize. So then I G-guard into Amaterasu, and then I PG his Vanguard. He checks a critical trigger and another critical trigger. So then we use Amaterasu and 2 cards. We are left with a Strike Potter. We go into Ikishima again, and then we just attack for 33. And honestly, I couldn't do anything because I had no counter boss here, so that was just kind of what it was. But he no passed, and I checked a crit, a heal, and a 2. He goes into Blue Ball again, uses the skill of the Squits to return them. So like really our only chance is like if he doesn't check and crit. So we take it for 19. We guard his Vanguard for a Cheetah Pass, I believe. And he literally checks triple crit. So I'm just like, okay, you got it. He checked double crit like every single turn. But yeah, basically that's the only thing you can do against Chaos. Like, unfortunately for us, he didn't ride the new Chaos universe immediately. When he went into grade 3, he had the original Chaos Breaker, which is actually worse for us, because he's able to choose a unit and lock rather than us choosing a unit when he rides it. And so we could have just locked our back row and actually had a good first turn against him, but we couldn't. So yeah, loading Battle Sisters 2. We're playing against Messiahs, so yeah, you can see that I made these videos like right when the link trigger dropped on area, so literally everyone and their moms is using link trigger, so I was like, what the heck? But the Messiah player checks a crit, and we're already at really high damage. And then we look at the top part of our deck, and we attack with Quarantine. We check no triggers. He checks a heal trigger, which doesn't go off. He tries to lock Rusk, which he can't, because it has resist. So he attacked Rearguard, and then he clicked Vanguard after he checked triggers, so it was like weird. But we go into Gelato anyways. We just go to get some cards to our hand, and then we attack, and we check the critical, but nothing else. So he takes 2 damage, and then we attack the Rearguard. He uses Trends off Messiah to lock our cards. And then we get a draw trigger, we draw. Then he attacks for 36. I guard with Amaterasu. And then he attacks and ends turn. I use the skill of Ichikishima, gonna give 3k with the crit. And then I attack, and he guards 2 to pass, because he can't use those zeros in his hand. So, yep, then I attack him for 16, and I guess I got the game, because he shows me that he literally has all zeros in his hand. So that's just an example of how Ichikishima can actually win you a game against no trigger, which is pretty ridiculous. Like, I didn't think that I was going to win. But it shows you that it's still possible to win because of how broken Ichikishima is. Like, if your opponent has like a hand where they would normally be like, oh, this hand's so good, yada 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 yada. Rada rada rada. For those of you who watch Chowder. Yeah, but anyways, it just shows you how you can still carry games with Ichikishima, because it's that powerful of a card. If your opponent has a hand where they would normally be like, okay, I'm fine, like against battles or against OTT in general, like you can't be fine if you have all good zeros in your hand. That's actually terrible. So game 3 is actually against Blasters, which is a good showcase. I was glad that it wasn't Link Joker, because we can finally fight another Rush deck and actually both do the things that we're supposed to do, because I can guess that the Blaster player didn't have a solid time against all the Link Joker players either. So he does crit us in the early game, and he starts with the combo. But we take it, and we check a trigger, so he decides not to follow through. And we check the crit and get quarantine for our checks. And then he goes into Gancelot first stride. He uses Exceed skill to search Exceed. Calls a Lou, I believe, or sorry, calls Marin to get Blaster Blade. And then in my opinion, he should have played a Flobo down to Rearguard Circle, but you know, to each their own. I PG Gancelot, he checks 4, and then he gets a draw trigger and nothing else. So we take his Rearguard, and then he uses Lou skill, and then we guard with the 5. So we stride into Stalin this time, adding a card. and then we use Stalin skill to look at the top cards. Literally nothing really was worth putting back. And the reason why I didn't put back my crit is because it would shuffle the deck, and I want to heal off the Stalin because I'm pretty sure I stacked the heal. So he did 2 to pass us. We put it all on rearguard because we knew that we weren't going to get 2 triggers. However, if we had gotten 2 triggers, we would have just been able to pass the attack. So he goes into Alfred this time. Alfred Holy Saber. Uses his skill to search a card out, and then he uses Alfred Holy Saber to counter box 1, flip a copy and discard, and then Exceed gets Twin Drive. So he attacks for 21, we G-Guard, Amaterasu, no pass. He checks 2, 1 is a PG, then we PG his Vanguard, and then he checks a crit, and then he attacks for 21, and we guard with Bobbles. We stride into Ichikishima. He does have 3 PGs in his hand, which is awful for us, but there's no way for us to know because he didn't show us that earlier. So we use Muffin skill to give 3k and call it back. And we make our rear guards super big. We use Muffin again. And we attack for 26. He PGs, like we knew that he would once we saw his hand. We have a heal trigger, we put to rear guard. And then we attack with both, and he PGs both. And I even said did not expect. But he can't stride as a result of dropping all those cards, so we are able to take 1, then G-Guard his Vanguard for a no to pass and add cards to our hand. And then I guard, and then pretty much just to style on him, I went into the GB8 because I knew they didn't have any PGs because they just wasted so many of them. And then our opponent, when they saw the GB8, just quit, but I kept going just to see what I would have checked. And I would have just checked crit, draw, and then drew a heal trigger. So my hand was pretty solid after that, and then my rear guards were attacking for 45 with a crit, and then 48 with a crit. So there's no way that he would have lived, which is probably the reason why he just, should have quit. But yeah, that has been our 3 Battle Sisters game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button down below. Also, check out all of our social medias in the description down below as well, being our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and then also our Patreon. If you're into the channel that much and you want to support via Patreon, I would highly support and appreciate it. And then also there's a bunch of stuff going on the Patreon, like free boxes once a month, stuff like that. I'll leave you guys to read through the details to that. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace, guys.